and a very warm welcome to this month's Pacecast. I can't believe it's December already. It's been a great year for Pace, and I've really enjoyed interviewing all our guests on the Pacecast every month. But as it is the end of the year and Christmas is fast approaching, we thought we'd do something slightly different this month. So rather than me interview a business leader, I am going to be interviewed myself, which is something that I am looking forward to, I think. But on this occasion, the person interviewing me is going to be my daughter Mia, who's 14 years old, and I have no idea what she's going to ask me. So I'm going to hand over to Mia. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Hello, I'm Mia and I'm interviewing my mum. So I've heard you brought something special in today. What have you brought?
I have brought something in special, and the thing I've brought in is a photograph of our new office. It's Warehouse 6 in Hull City Centre, which is above the Ask Italian restaurant. And the reason this photograph is special, it's an old photograph of the building, and it's been on my notice board at home for quite a few years. And the reason it's been on my notice board at home is because many, many, many years ago, when I worked for KCOM in Hull, I went into this building because KCOM used to actually have some offices in this building. And I remember going in and at the time thinking these offices were amazing and they would make a brilliant agency. And I, at that time, always thought that one day I would, if everything went to plan, have my own agency. So I decided there and then that if I was to be successful in having my own agency, these offices would be my office one day for my agency. And it's been on my notice board for many years as a reminder to me that that's something that I was working towards. So the fact that we are now in this building, in these offices, is a huge thing for me. I'm extremely proud of the business and what we've achieved together. And the icing on the cake is the fact that we're now in Warehouse 6.
And you had a party there the other day. How was that?
We did have a party there, yes. So we had an office warming there just a few days ago, because we're recording this early December, where we invited some of our all of our clients, suppliers, friends of the business. I wanted to have the party early before Christmas party season got into full swing, and it was a huge success, and I think everyone enjoyed it. I certainly did anyway.
Good. And when you were younger, did you always know that you wanted to go into have your own business, or was this just like a spur of the moment thing?
Spur of the moment thing. No, I did actually always want my own business, and the reason was, as I was growing up, your granddad, who sadly you've never met because he died before you were born, he was a successful businessman and he ran a car dealership. And I remember as a little girl going into his office. He used to work on a Saturday, because Saturday's a busy day for selling cars. And he used to go to work, much to my mum's, I think she'd rather he didn't, but anyway, he did. He was very motivated and very committed. So he used to go to work on a Saturday, and I used to want to go with him, and I used to go and sit in his office, and I was only little, just because I wanted to sit in an office behind a big desk in a big chair. It seems bizarre that I wanted to do it, really, and I look back. But I remember thinking as a little girl that I wanted to have an office, and I wanted to
have a chair.
Thank you. Yeah. And run a business one day. So I think I've always, my dad was very inspirational to me, and I think I've always wanted to go into business. I didn't know at that age, obviously, or as I was growing up, what sort of business. I just knew I wanted to be in business. So
where was your first office?
First office for Pace, or where did I first go to work?
First office for Pace.
So Pace, I started Pace in 2015, so we're 8 years old now, and we were one of the first occupants of a building called C4DI, which stands for the Centre for Digital Innovation in Hull, and that is an incubator for startups, and it's actually just celebrated, the building, the Beta building, which is its predecessor, has just celebrated. They've been in business 10 years. They've just celebrated their 10th anniversary. And we were one of the first tenants in there. And when they set Pace up, there were 3 of us originally. And then we very quickly grew to 5 of us. And we were in that building for 3 years. So each time we took on more people, we had to, in fact, knock the office wall down to create more space. So we did that 3 times in total, I think, before we realised that we'd actually outgrown the space, and we moved into another building not far away, Wykeland House, which is where we spent 5 happy years before outgrowing that space. And now, as I say, we've just recently moved to our new home, which I love, Warehouse 6.
Did the landlord know you were knocking the walls down, or was that just a secret?
They knew.
Okay,
They
good.
knew. We had to get their permission, and they were very accommodating. The landlord is Wykeland, and they've helped us a lot with our growth and helped us find new office space. But C4DI was a brilliant home starting point for us, and they're a great place for startup companies. They provide all the services and the contacts that you need as a startup. So if anyone is listening to this and considering starting a company, I think it's a good place to start.
And what was your life before Pace? Was it much different?
Did I have a life before Pace?
Ha ha ha.
Well, obviously the highlight of my life was
me being born.
Yeah, giving birth to you and your sister Pippa, of course. But I had a career before becoming a mum. So for over 20 odd years, probably 25, I don't know, a long time, I worked for a company called KCOM. So I joined KCOM in 1989 as something called a graduate trainee. So what that is you, when you graduate from university, you join a company and you're on a management training program. So I joined KCOM and I wanted to focus on marketing because that's what I'd done. My business degree was focused on marketing. So I wanted to work in marketing at KCOM. So I joined in 1989 and I had a few different positions as part of my management training. And I had a very long and successful career working at KCOM, doing very different roles through the years. And then I left in, I can't remember the year, 2008 maybe, I think it was. 2008, first time round. Took 4 years out to have you and your sister. Very happy years they were too. But I missed going to work. So KCOM came knocking and asked if I would consider coming back. So I did. And I went back to KCOM for another couple of years. But I wanted to, at that point, I decided that I wanted to have my own business. So that's when Pace was born.
Was that your favourite job before Pace?
Well, I had many jobs at KCOM. The jobs I enjoyed most at KCOM, I was very lucky enough in the very early mid-1990s probably it was, to be given the opportunity to set up the internet business. Because internet, I know you can't believe this, your age, but the internet didn't exist back then. And it was a new thing in the industry, and they asked me to look at it as a project initially and assess whether or not it was something that was going to stay and if there was an opportunity for KCOM to provide internet services. So I was lucky enough to be asked to do that. And then we set up a separate business called Kingston Internet. We launched a service called Karoo, which was the very first internet service in Hull. So I did that with my team. And then I ran that business for a few years. So I loved doing that. And then I did different jobs after that. But I also enjoyed when I was the director of communications. I enjoyed that role as well, which was doing all the public relations and the communications and investor relations.
Lots of Asians.
Lots of Asians, yeah. Yes.
So what were your early thoughts of Pace? Did you think you'd be sat here now having your daughter interview you?
I didn't, no, but I'm enjoying it, so it's good. What were my early thoughts of Pace? Well, I wanted to be in Warehouse 6 one day. I didn't know how long that was going to take, so I'm delighted that I've ticked that box. I wanted to build an agency that has a good reputation, which I think we have, and I wanted to build an agency that people want to work for and those that do enjoy working for, and I'd like to think that I've ticked that box as well.
After you had your first ever office, what was your second office like? Did you like it more? Did you miss the old office?
No, I did like it more, and it signalled the fact that we were growing. So, as I said, we outgrew our space in C4DI, and it signalled, it was a big step for us because it signalled that we were growing as a company, but it was also meaning that I was having to invest more in the business, which I was happy to do because it was a much bigger space. But it also signalled, I think, the fact that we had our own office with our own meeting rooms. And I know that sounds like it's a little thing, but in C4DI, we were sharing meeting rooms with other businesses. So we had to book them, and it was becoming problematic with our clients, being able to find a meeting room to meet with them. So I think it was a big step for us moving out of C4DI, but I think it was necessary to take us where we wanted to in terms of our business growth. But I really enjoyed it there. And I was actually quite sad in some ways to close the doors on that office, because it had been a big part of our journey, 5 years there. The team had grown a lot. But we were 28 people and it was becoming very cosy. As much as we like each other, we didn't want to be sat on each other's lap. So, as I say, the new office, much bigger, and it gives us scope to grow the team, continue to grow the team, which we're planning to do. So we'll see how long we last in there before we need more space.
And I've heard that you've been doing like Christmas ads every year. Do you think you'll be doing one this year?
Oh, Christmas video.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I do think we are doing one.
Do you know what song?
It's not a song this time. So, yeah, we started a bit of a tradition.
Is it you singing?
Is it what?
Is it you singing?
No, I'm not singing. You'll be pleased to know. Yeah, we've got a bit of a tradition now with our our Pace Christmas video. So there's no Mariah Carey this time, and there is no Christmas movies. I don't want to spoil the surprise, but we are working on something a bit different this year, which the whole team is involved in, and it's going to be fun.
Do they want to be involved, or you just?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm not really. It's not my gig this time. Somebody else is behind it, and it's a team effort, and I'm looking forward to seeing the final result. And
when you first moved into the office, were you nervous? Were you excited?
I was very, very excited, yeah. And what was really nice was on our first day in the office, the team all surprised me. So I was I was sat there thinking, where is everybody? Have they all forgotten we've moved and gone to the old office? And then I got a phone call asking me to look out the window, and I looked out the window and the whole team was up on the Murdoch Bridge with balloons, obviously pink and silver balloons actually, all waving at me because the window obviously overlooks the bridge, all waving, and then they all came in together to surprise me, but they'd not seen the office before, so it was nice for them to all arrive together as one team and see the office for the first time, because I'd spent the weekend, as you well know, because you helped, getting it all ready for them. So it was nice.
There was a lot of backwards and forwards that weekend.
There was a lot of backwards and forwards that week. A lot of carrying boxes, wasn't there?
At least it's done now.
Yeah.
And you can just
What do you think of the office?
It's bigger.
Yeah.
And I think I've got a different view that helped, because I've seen it empty.
Yeah.
And then I've seen it full. And then I've seen it full of people.
Yeah.
So I think it's good. And do you have, like, obviously you don't have to name names, but do you have, like, a favourite client that you'd love to work with?
I thought you were going to say a favourite team member.
No, I've been told not to say that.
A favourite client? No, I love all my clients. All our clients are very different. I think they're different. We like all our clients. The good thing about an agency is the variety of work, and that's what the clients bring.
Who's your longest client that you've had? Is there anyone from day one?
Well, our very first client was KCOM, but we stopped working with them for a period. We're working with them again now. But our longest serving client is a company called Westcott in Hull. We've been working with them since, I want to say 2016, maybe. And we're still working with them now. And actually, they've expanded, and we're doing more work for them now, which is brilliant.
And now, do you have any like future plans for Pace? Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Okay, right. So it's a very exciting time at Pace. We've just secured a huge client for us. They're a global company. They're based in the US. So we're very excited about that. And some of the team are, well, by the time this goes out, will have been to the US. We've got a trip next week to go and meet with the new client face to face. And I think with that client brings huge new opportunities for the agency. As I say, they're a global company, so hopefully that will all go to plan. So that's exciting. And I think that's an indication of our ambition. We are, for the last 8 years, most of our work and clients have been through word of mouth, and that's been brilliant, but they've tended to be local or regional. We do have some national clients, but we're determined to grow the national side of the business. So exciting times ahead, and I'm sure that we'll be looking for some more office space in 5 years' time if everything goes to plan.
Do you have anyone in mind taking over?
Taking over Pace?
Yeah.
Are you applying for a job, Mia?
Well, now that you mentioned it.
What was the question? Sorry, you derailed me now.
Do you have any ideas of anyone taking over?
Succession? Not yet, no. I'm not ready to retire yet. Although the clock is ticking in terms of age. I'm nearer 60 than I am 50, so yeah, I will have to consider it at some point. Unless I just carry on until I can't do it anymore.
I think you should have someone on a backup.
A backup, right, okay.
Like, if you take a day, for example, when you go away, do you have anyone in mind?
What to
look after the office and
the
keep
team
everyone
are quite...
in line?
I'm not sure about that.
What was that?
Alexa.
It was Alexa. Thank you, Alexa.
It's like she was answering the question for me.
That'll actually be quite funny in the edit.
Because have you got anyone to succeed yet? I'm not sure about that.
I'll put that in at the start.
Do you have anyone in mind taking over when you go away?
Oh, when I'm away? No, there isn't. The team are very capable of looking after themselves. They don't need necessarily someone to look after them.
Are you sure they don't just all stay off on the days when you're away? Do you play any sports?
Yes, so not surprisingly, as I was competitive, I enjoyed sport as well. So I was I was a useless swimmer, couldn't swim, still can't swim very well now. I didn't learn to swim properly till I was about 12 or something like that, because my mum and dad couldn't swim, so I never learned to swim as a young child. So swimming was something I hated at school and I tried to avoid, but thankfully I was pretty decent at team sports. I did netball, hockey, etc., but I was a very good runner. So my history teacher at the time recommended I join an athletics club, which I did when I was about 12, maybe a bit younger. And I joined City of Hull Athletics Club as it was at the time, and I was pretty good. So athletics was my thing.
Has that helped you in your life now?
I think being into sport and gives you, well, I was competitive anyway, but I think it helps you deal with difficult situations, because training, if you're doing it at a good level, you're training a lot in all weathers, and it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of resilience, it takes a lot of hard work, and you also learn how to lose. And life, part of life is not always winning, and learning how to deal with adversity, and sometimes things don't go to plan. So I think and athletics is quite a selfish sport in some ways, but also I was part of a relay team and a training squad, and as independent as you are as an athlete, I think it does teach you team skills as well, because you are part of a bigger team. So I think there's a lot to be learnt from sport, which is why I'm pleased you like netball.
Not running.
Not running.
Did you go to uni, or did you find another way to get where you are now?
So I did I went to school, obviously, did what were called O-levels in those days. Didn't have GCSEs back in those days. And I got all my O-levels, and I was going back to school to do A-levels, but then I decided to do it slightly differently. So I did my degree whilst working. So I did my degree 2 nights a week over 4 years, which was tough at the time. It meant a lot of hard work. It meant a lot of studying in my own time. But what it did mean was I'd already got my foot on the career ladder, if you like. And by the time I got my degree, I'd already got 4 years experience in the workplace at the same time. So I wasn't new, no. I kind of had a head start, so to speak. But it was hard. It was a hard way of doing it. And I missed out on university life and all the fun stuff you do at uni.
Since starting Pace, what's been your highlight so far?
Oh, that's a good question.
Apart from the days when you got me in the office.
What's been the highlight so far? There's been so many.
Moving off has got to be a big one.
Yeah, seeing the team grow is great, because that's what I wanted, and that it's good to see the team grow. Winning new clients is always brilliant, especially the one we've just won recently. That's been a massive achievement for us. I still get excited about I still get excited about going to work. Still get excited about the day to day. One particular highlight. I mean, there's been some challenges along the way and some hard times, especially when you lose a client. That's not easy. But one highlight.
But when you lose a client, you've got room for more clients.
That's true. Yeah,
So you can get a
clients
better
come and
one.
go, and members of the team come and go. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of one particular I think moving office is an indication, each time we've done it, is an indication of our success. So each time we do it, that's the highlight.
What have you learned in the past 8 years that you'd like to know before you started? If you started again, what would you redo?
Oh, gosh. What would I do differently, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm still learning all the time, even now. Gosh, what would I do differently? I think I'm getting better at dealing with the rejection. So when I say rejection, the very first time we didn't win a pitch. So a pitch is when you go up against other agencies to win work. And the very first one we went, because we'd won quite a few as a result, when we were new, we won a lot of work. And then the first time we didn't win, I did not like that at all. I was upset.
Again,
I was
competitive.
angry. Yeah, because I'm competitive, and I also took it very personally as a bit of a failure. And it's still not nice when we don't win, but I'm a lot better at dealing with it now. So I don't take it personally. I realise I now know that we're not always the right agency for that particular client, and likewise, they're not the right client for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But what are the things that you look for when you're recruiting someone?
Oh, that's a good question. Attitude more than anything else. So I have a view that attitude trumps experience. So what that means is someone with a good positive attitude, then they're going to put in the effort, they're going to work hard, and they're going to do well. I think experience is something people can learn. So if they don't know how to do the job, they can learn that if they've got the right attitude. But just because you know how to do the job, if you haven't got the right attitude, then you're not going to be a good fit for us. And it's important they do fit. So we've got a really good team at Pace. Everyone gets on with each other. They all have each other's back. And I look for people who will fit in to the Pace culture when we interview.
So if they had a really bad attitude, but they were really, 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 really good at the job, that'd be a no?
No, they won't get the job.
So
Whereas if they had a really, really good attitude, what the attitude we look for,
if they're
but didn't
bad.
know how to do the job, there's more chance they'd get the job, yeah.
Do you want to go international with Pace, or do you want to just stay in Hull?
I'd like Pace to have a much larger footprint than it has now, yes. So this new client we've got, excuse me, as I say, they're based in the States, and they're not our first international client. We do have other clients that have an international market, but this, I think, is transformational for Pace, and it hopefully will put us in a good position to expand further afield, yeah. So, yeah, it would be nice to. Where would you like us to have another office?
Not America, Australia.
Australia, there's a surprise. Melbourne, by any chance?
That would be nice, yeah. Preferably one near the city.
Okay.
So,
Maybe.
in walking distance.
Okay.
So you can take me to work and I can just go shopping.
Let's move on.
And where would you like to go? If you could go anywhere in the world, take Pace anywhere, where would you go?
Oh, gosh. I think America's exciting. I think everyone says New York, don't they, as a...
Christmas.
Especially this time of year, New York is amazing. You've got to look at where there's competition. So New York is a very heavily competed city as far as agencies is concerned. On a personal level, I prefer the west coast of America, which is California. So I won't mind having an office over there.
Do you not want
Maybe one day.
If you did go international, would you work out there, or would you stay in Pace?
Well, Pace would be international.
Well,
You
yeah,
mean like
but-
where would I
yeah,
base
yeah.
myself? I'd probably split my time across the different places.
Would you take your family with you, or,
These are leading questions, Mia.
or would you put them on the bus in the morning?
I don't know.
it's been great speaking to you today and interviewing you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it.
As my last question, if you had to give a 14-year-old, not me, well, you could give me, but not me, some advice for the future of like going into school, picking subjects and picking business, picking life.
Yeah.
What would you say?
So when I was your age, 14, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I said I wanted to be in business in some way, but I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what I was going to be focusing on. And I think my advice to a 14-year-old would be not to worry about it at this stage, exactly what the career looks like, but just work hard at school and just try and do
be competitive.
No, not necessarily. You as a 14-year-old, not you specifically, as a 14-year-old, you know what you're good at, so focus on being brilliant at what you're good at rather than trying to be mediocre at things that you struggle with. So everybody is good at something, so focus on that. As a 14-year-old, I don't think you should be worrying about because the world of work is changing. You know, by the time you leave school or education, you know, office work might be very different to what it is today. So
There might be flying cars.
there might be flying cars, yeah.
I don't think there will be, but there might be.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, no, thanks to me. I've really enjoyed it today and
Thank you.
hope you have as well.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. That brings us to the end of this special Pacecast where I've been interviewed by Mia. It's been a great year at Pace. As I said earlier, really enjoyed doing the Pacecast with all our special guests, and I look forward to 2024 and what it holds for Pace and the Pacecast. But until then, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for listening to us this year and to wish you and all your families a very Merry Christmas. Until next year, bye-bye.